They imagine secrets are confessed in words, but the truth always escapes in silence. Most people spend their entire lives leaking pieces of themselves, not in what they say, but in the tremor of a voice, in the hesitation before they answer, in the way their eyes betray them when a certain name is spoken. You think you are in control. You are not. Every weakness you've buried is already bleeding out of you, visible to the ones who know where to look. According to Machiavelli, the greatest danger is not the enemy who attacks. It is the self who reveals. Rulers fell not because armies breached their walls, but because whispers exposed what they tried to hide. Your enemies don't need to break you. They only need to watch you break yourself. Understand this. Honesty is not survival. Secrecy is. Power is not defined by what you show, but by what you refuse to let them see. The crowd believes concealment is deception. They are wrong. Concealment is freedom. Machiavelli left one final warning. There are 7 truths you must never reveal. 7 fractures that, once exposed, give others absolute power over you. Most people offer them freely, desperate to be understood, desperate to be loved, and they are devoured for it. You are here because you already know. The world doesn't reward innocence. It feeds on it. This is not advice. This is a dissection, and these are the 7 secrets you must never reveal. Secret 1 is power weakness. The first secret never to reveal is the fracture point of your strength, where your supposed dominance cracks under pressure. According to Machiavelli, rulers are not defeated by armies alone, but by whispers that expose their insecurity. You think your downfall will come from force, from attack, from betrayal that strikes loud and sudden, but it won't. The truth is colder. The end always begins in silence. In the moment someone sees the fracture you thought was hidden, the weakness you denied, but could never erase. Power doesn't die with war. It dies with exposure. The first secret you must never reveal is the exact point where your strength collapses, not the mask you wear, not the image you defend, the real fracture. The insecurity that gnaws at you when you are alone, because once someone discovers it, they will never stop pressing it. Most people give this away without knowing. Watch closely. The man who brags about loyalty is not strong. He is afraid of betrayal. The woman who demands respect is not powerful. She is fragile. The louder the insistence, the clearer the void. They believe they are hiding their weakness. In truth, they are screaming it. This is how most people are undone. They hand their enemies the exact weapon that can destroy them. They name it. They confess it. They even defend it. And once it is named, it becomes a target. Machiavelli understood this. He watched rulers collapse not because their enemies were stronger, but because their fears were discovered. Once exposed, those fears spread like fire through a court. Whispers traveled faster than armies. A prince who looked invincible one day seemed vulnerable the next. And in that perception, power drained away. Your survival depends on silence. Your weakness must remain invisible, even to those closest to you, especially to those closest to you, because betrayal never comes from strangers. It comes from the hand that once held yours, and the betrayal is always aimed at the wound they alone could see. Understand this. Once you reveal where you are breakable, you no longer belong to yourself. You belong to the one who can exploit it. Power thrives in ambiguity. When no one knows your fracture, they are forced into paranoia. They search for it. They invent it. They waste years striking shadows. They plot attacks that never land. And in their confusion, you remain untouched. Look at the powerful who endure. They do not defend themselves. They do not declare what hurts them. They leave nothing exposed. And because no one can locate the weakness, no one can strike it. Their silence forces others into exhaustion. Your instinct will tempt you to reveal, to confess to a lover, to explain to a friend, to declare to the world what you fear. Do not. Every confession is a surrender. Every admission is a chain around your neck. They will use it. If not today, then tomorrow. If not in anger, then in regret. But once it is spoken, it can never be retrieved. Keep your weakness silent, even if it eats at you, especially then. Better to suffer privately than to bleed publicly. Better to endure the weight of silence than to give someone the key to your destruction. According to Machiavelli, power is not secured by weapons or armies, but by concealment. Let them wonder where you are vulnerable. Let them waste their lives trying to guess. Their paranoia will destroy them long before your silence ever destroys you. The truth is simple. The first secret you must never reveal is the one that could break you. Second secret is your true ambition. According to Machiavelli, men are less concerned with offending one who makes himself loved than one who makes himself feared. For love is held by a chain of obligation which, because men are wicked, is broken whenever it is to their advantage. But fear is maintained by a dread of punishment which never fails. They will tell you to dream loudly, to announce your goals, to speak your vision into existence. But the moment you do, you invite sabotage. You don't see it at first. You think people want you to win. You believe their smiles, their applause, their encouragement. But the truth is quieter, colder. The moment they know what you want, they begin calculating how to keep it from you. Ambition is not a banner you wave. It is a blade you conceal. The masses reveal their desires because they crave recognition. They beg for validation before the conquest, applause before the victory. They think exposure is strength. They think telling the world makes it real, but exposure is poison. Once your true ambition is exposed, every ally becomes a rival. Every rival becomes an enemy, and the crowd becomes an obstacle. Machiavelli knew this. Princes who declared their plans never lived to see them fulfilled. The coalition formed before the first step was taken. The resistance hardened before the battle began. Power moves faster in silence. It is no different now. Tell people you want wealth, and suddenly doors close. Opportunities vanish. You're excluded quietly, cut off without explanation. Tell them you want power, and watch colleagues sharpen their knives. They'll whisper. They'll poison reputations. They'll make sure your climb is blocked before it begins. Tell someone you want revenge, and the target will fortify before you ever strike. Revealed ambition breeds resistance. Hidden ambition breeds inevitability. That is the law. The only way forward is deception. Mask your true aim beneath trivial pursuits. Distract them. Let them think you are content, small, harmless. Let them believe you lack the vision, the discipline, the hunger. Play the fool while you carve silent paths forward. You must make them underestimate you. Their dismissal is your shield. Their indifference is your protection. By the time they realize the truth, it's already too late. You're in position. The crown is already on your head. The move has already been made. Ambition hidden becomes destiny. Ambition exposed becomes suicide. And here is the deeper cruelty. They don't just want to stop you. They want you to expose yourself. They want to hear your confession. They ask what you're planning, not out of care, but to measure your threat. Every time you speak, you arm them. Every revelation becomes ammunition. Every word is a weapon they will one day use against you. You think silence is weakness. It isn't. Silence is strategy. It forces others to guess, to invent their own stories. And while they waste their energy speculating, you move. Quietly, efficiently, without interference. Ambition must feel like nothing to the outside world. Ordinary, invisible, hidden beneath layers of distraction. A false life covering the true one. You let them see what you choose. A hobby, a routine, a mask. They laugh at what they think you are, never realizing what you're becoming. By the time the curtain falls, it isn't ambition anymore. It is reality. No one can stop what has already been built. That is how you win, not by announcing, not by sharing, not by speaking your desire into the air, but by swallowing it, protecting it, guarding it like a secret flame until the fire consumes everything around you. The world will always resist what it can see, but it cannot fight what it never knew existed. So you keep your ambition buried, hidden in silence, wrapped in shadows. And when you rise, they will call it sudden, unexpected. But you will know the truth. It was inevitable. Third secret is the depth of your knowledge, according to Machiavelli. The wise man does at once what the fool does. Finally, they will never forgive you for being sharper than them. The moment they sense you see too much, the knives come out, not in public, not in daylight, but in silence, in whispers, in the shadows of envy. Knowledge is leverage, but once they know the depth of your knowledge, it stops being a weapon and starts being a threat. You think you impress them when you reveal how much you understand. You think showing them your awareness wins respect. It doesn't. It sparks fear. It stirs suspicion. It awakens jealousy. People don't admire the one who knows everything. They resent them because knowledge, once revealed, makes them feel exposed, naked, weak in comparison. And weakness always hides its shame with hate. I've seen it too many times. Someone shows their brilliance too early. They answer every question with precision. They cut through lies without hesitation. For a moment, they stand taller than everyone else. But then the silence shifts. Smiles become thinner. Allies become cautious. And enemies, who once ignored them, begin to sharpen their blades. Machiavelli warned rulers not to display too much intelligence before their subjects. Why? Because people fear what they cannot match. And what people fear, they try to destroy. The paradox is cruel. Knowledge is your advantage. But if they see its depth, they no longer underestimate you. They calculate you. They guard themselves. They reveal less. And suddenly, the game you were winning is no longer yours to play. That is why the wise conceal. You ask questions you already know the answer to. You nod when they lie, pretending not to notice. You allow them to think you are blind, when in truth, you see everything. It is not about deception for its own sake. It is about positioning. When they believe you are confused, they relax. When they think you are naive, they speak freely. When they assume you are in the dark, they show their hand without hesitation. The power of hidden knowledge is this. They reveal themselves to you, while you reveal nothing in return. And every secret they let slip, every weakness they expose, becomes a weapon only you can wield. But reveal too much, and the balance flips. They retreat. They hide their intentions. They learn to defend themselves against you. And in defending, they begin to plot. The moment they know what you know, the war begins. That's why the true strategist appears smaller than they are. Not weak, not foolish, just less aware than reality. You must look like someone still putting the pieces together, even when the full picture is already in your hand. You act as though you are learning, when you are already calculating. You pretend to miss while you are already watching. You make them believe they lead the game, when in truth, you've been guiding it from the start. Understand this: the unseen intellect is the sharpest blade, because no one can strike what they cannot measure. A revealed intellect, no matter how brilliant, becomes a target. So you stay quiet when you could correct. You let them explain what you already know. You smile when they underestimate you. You hide the sharpness of your thoughts behind the dull mask of indifference. That is how you survive among the envious. That is how you last among the cunning. That is how you dominate without being marked. Machiavelli's lesson is brutal in its simplicity. What they don't see in you is what controls them. And the more they think you are blind, the more freely they expose their own secrets. Remember this: the world doesn't punish ignorance. It punishes awareness. Your knowledge must never be measured, because the moment they see the depth of what you know, you've already lost. Fourth secret is the extent of your wealth. According to Machiavelli, the great man is he who makes himself obscure, that none may know his wealth or his poverty. They will never admit it, but they are always watching your pockets, counting your steps, measuring your reach. The moment you reveal what you own, you are no longer free. You have given them a weapon, information, ammunition they will use against you. Money is not just currency. It is a mirror. Show it, and it reflects jealousy, greed, and hunger in the eyes of those around you. Hide it, and no one knows where to strike. I have seen people destroy themselves, not through poverty, but through honesty. They thought openness was strength. They thought revealing their success would inspire loyalty. It did not. It inspired envy, and envy is the slow poison that corrodes every bond. When people know your wealth, they begin to calculate you. They measure what they can take, what they can ask, how far they can push. Your generosity becomes expectation. Your refusal becomes betrayal. You are no longer a person. You are a resource to be drained. This is why rulers who flaunted riches were surrounded by enemies. Gold glittered in their courts, but daggers glittered brighter in the shadows. Machiavelli saw it clearly. The more visible your treasure, the more visible your target. And yet, conceal your wealth, and you create mystery. Mystery breeds caution. People cannot strike what they cannot see. They cannot demand what they cannot measure. They do not know if you are stronger than them or weaker. And uncertainty is power. That is why the wisest men wear modest masks. They pretend poverty while holding abundance. They downplay their gains while storing weapons in silence. They appear needy when they are not, capable when they are broken, invisible when they are strong. Think of the trap you set when others underestimate you. They believe you weak. They relax. And then, when they are unguarded, You reveal what you truly hold. Victory is easier when your enemy has already counted you out. But when you boast, when you flash your earnings, your car, your home, your bank account, you invite not respect, but resentment. Your wealth becomes their obsession. It becomes their excuse for betrayal. He can afford it, they whisper, as they take from you. He won't notice. Until nothing is left. Wealth exposed is leverage against you. Wealth hidden is leverage for you. Do you see the difference? One makes you prey. The other makes you untouchable. A desperate man who reveals his desperation invites vultures. A rich man who reveals his riches invites thieves. Both end the same way, surrounded by those who want what they should never have known existed. Silence protects you. Concealment shields you. A modest lie buys you peace. You owe the world nothing, not your numbers, not your earnings, not your struggles. The moment they can calculate your wealth, they can calculate your weakness. And once they know your weakness, they will exploit it without hesitation. So you must learn the hardest lesson of survival. Your fortune is safest when invisible. It is your shield, not your display. Your fortress, not your trophy. The unseen fortune is untouchable. The revealed fortune is already stolen. Secret 5. Your true loyalties. According to Machiavelli, the promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. They will ask you who you serve. They always do. They want to know where your anchor lies, where your heart bends, where your faith is chained. But the moment you answer, you lose, because allegiance is not strength. It is exposure. It is an open wound disguised as devotion. You've seen it in ordinary people. The way they wear their loyalties like armor. Flags, symbols, family names, declarations of undying loyalty. They think it makes them unbreakable. They think shouting who they belong to makes them safer. But what they are really doing is handing over the coordinates of their weakness. The world doesn't care who you love, who you defend, who you die for. It only cares that now it knows where to strike. If someone wants to move you, they don't touch you directly. They touch the person, the group, the cause you swore yourself to. They pull the lever that controls you. And you, thinking yourself loyal, realize too late you are just predictable. Machiavelli understood this long before you. He warned rulers, never tie yourself completely to one faction. Never give your full loyalty, because the moment you do, you surrender freedom. Your future becomes hostage to their survival. Your choices die with their mistakes. Look closely, and you'll see how people betray themselves without realizing it. The man who cannot stop speaking about his family becomes hostage to his family's safety. The woman who swears absolute devotion to her lover becomes hostage to his faithfulness. The soldier who binds himself to a banner becomes hostage to a leader he cannot control. This is why true power never plants its roots too deep in any one soil. It must remain fluid, untouchable. If no one knows your true loyalty, no one can trap you. If no one knows what you would die for, they cannot threaten it. You remain a mystery, a problem they cannot solve. That is why silence is not weakness. It is protection. You don't need to announce your allegiances. You don't need to prove them. The loudest oaths are always the most fragile. The strongest loyalties are the ones no one can see. When you appear loyal to many but belong to none, you create confusion. They cannot map your axis. They cannot decide where you stand. And because they cannot define you, they cannot control you. This is the art most will never master, because most people need to be seen as faithful, as trustworthy, as devoted. They need to prove that they belong somewhere. But you cannot afford that weakness. Your loyalty must be yours alone, hidden, shifted, untouchable. People will call you cold for this. They will call you untrustworthy, selfish, ruthless. But what they really mean is that they cannot find your lever. They cannot pull your strings. They cannot make you kneel the way they make others kneel. And that is precisely why you will outlast them. Do not mistake this for disloyalty. It is not betrayal to refuse to be predictable. It is not treachery to keep your true axis hidden. It is survival. The world thrives on exploiting what you reveal, on bending what you expose. But when you reveal nothing, when you guard the location of your true allegiance like a fortress, you cannot be bent. You cannot be bought. You cannot be broken. Think of the people who once held power over you. They didn't gain it by being stronger. They gained it by knowing what you cared about. They used your heart as their weapon. They touched what you could not bear to lose. And in that moment, you became theirs. Never again. You are strongest when no one can answer the question, who do you truly serve? Keep them guessing. Keep them uncertain. Smile at them. Speak kindly. Let them believe you are loyal to their cause. But never let them know where your true loyalty rests. Because the second they know, you are no longer free. And freedom is the only true loyalty worth protecting. Sixth secret is the depth of your emotions. According to Machiavelli, he who becomes the object of too much love or too much hate becomes a prisoner of both. You make one mistake in life. You think emotions are safe to display. That if you show love, people will cherish it. That if you show anger, people will respect it. That if you show grief, people will comfort it. But the truth is colder. Every emotion you reveal becomes a weapon in someone else's hand. Love turns into leverage. Anger turns into bait. Grief turns into timing. Fear turns into control. That's why most people live like open books, and they never understand why they are so easy to move. They think vulnerability will earn them closeness. They think passion will win them loyalty. But what it really wins is captivity. You've seen it. The man who declares his love becomes a servant to it. The one who admits his hatred is forever chained to his enemy. And the one who cries in public learns how quickly pity turns into contempt. People don't just see your emotions. They study them. They memorize them. They wait for them. And when the right moment comes, they use them against you. That is the silent contract of human interaction. If you reveal your strings, someone will pull them. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. A ruler who wanted to be adored ended up ruled by the crowd. A ruler who displayed hatred created enemies who never slept. Both extremes destroyed freedom. The only ones who stayed untouchable were the ones who never revealed which way the wind moved their soul. Cold, unreadable, a mask that never cracked. Modern life is no different. When you show your anger, people learn how to bait you. They know which words, which insults, which silences ignite you. They turn you into a predictable machine, pressing buttons to watch you lose control. When you show your love, it is admired only until it becomes exploitable. They know how far you'll go. They know how much you'll sacrifice. And they know exactly how to twist it. When you show grief, the world doesn't pause. It sharpens its teeth because weakness has a smell. And those who envy you, those who resent you, those who wait for your fall, they will strike in the silence when you are least able to fight back. So you learn. You learn to separate feeling from exposure. You feel, but you do not reveal. You burn, but you do not let the smoke escape. You cry, but you do it in silence. You rage, but you keep your hands still. You smile, even as you plan the destruction of the one across from you. That's what power really is. Not the absence of emotion, but the absence of evidence. People think strength means being unfeeling. It doesn't. Strength means being unreadable. It means living behind a mask so carefully carved that no one ever knows which thread, if pulled, will unravel you. And once they cannot read you, they cannot rule you. They grow frustrated. They grow uncertain. They grow afraid. Because silence is the sharpest blade, and mystery is the strongest armor. Remember this: power belongs not to the one who feels nothing, but to the one who reveals nothing. Seventh secret is the extent of your silence. According to Machiavelli, it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Silence is the sharpest edge of fear. Most people believe silence is emptiness. They rush to fill it with excuses, with chatter, with explanations that betray them. But silence is not absence. Silence is presence sharpened into a blade. The weak expose themselves by breaking it. They cannot stand the pressure of stillness. They defend, they explain, they justify, and in those desperate words, they reveal everything: their guilt, their weakness, their need to be understood. But you, when you withhold your words, you become unreadable, a shadow they cannot measure, and that uncertainty drives them to madness. They imagine reasons for your silence. They build conspiracies out of thin air. They project fears that weren't there until your silence gave them space to grow. Silence makes others do the work for you. They question themselves. They second-guess their choices. They wonder if you are angry or plotting or indifferent. And in their overthinking, they collapse under the weight of their own paranoia. Reveal the meaning of your silence, and you destroy its power. The moment they know why you withheld, the mystery ends. They can predict you, control you. They relax, and you lose the only weapon that required no effort. Keep your silence veiled. Let it shift. Let it remain beyond interpretation. They will try to decode it. They will fail. And in that failure, they will break themselves against a wall that never moved. Machiavelli's final warning is simple. Once your silence is explained, it is useless. Keep it unexplained. Keep it haunting. Keep it alive long after you've gone, because silence, unexplained, is the final throne.